Okay, so welcome back. It's been a while. It's been a while. We're
Yeah.
back on the shelf, and this show is when we take our favorite items off of the shelf and talk about them. But what we're doing is we're going to be talking about television once again, as we did last time. So I am joined once again, Chase the Hijacker, by my good friend, Steve Horvath. Yeah, and everything like that. There's lights on in his house this time, so we're like, yeah, it's all good. He set the mood, didn't you, Steve?
Yeah, but the thing was, we were talking so long last time that we actually lost the natural light that we had in the room, and I just
Yeah,
thought it
yeah,
was
yeah,
moody, so I just allowed it to carry on. But it was a
right.
stylistic choice.
But you're a natural man. You're like Robert Redford and stuff like that. You know
Ah,
what I mean?
thanks,
Yeah.
man.
All right. Okay. So it's been hard getting Steve in back into the virtual studio to talk about our favorite things. I'm still looking forward to us doing a DC Golden Age episode.
Yes.
When we get some time. Been doing some research. It's not as extensive as Marvel, but what is great about the DC Golden Age is that you have all. That's where you got all the filmation cartoons, and you got all that because when you don't have to deal with the Trinity like Superman and Batman, because we're talking the golden age, which would be like the 70s into the 80s. That's when you got Wonder Woman and all that. So it's all good stuff as well and everything. So, but what we're going to be talking about is we're in this period now because we know we're all within the pandemic and everything. We all know that movies have not started up again. That means TV shows have not started up again. We're at the end of summer, and this is the time that we usually look forward to the fall season beginning. It hasn't even started shooting. So, all the shows that have been filming like last year for this summer is now coming to an end. So we're coming to an end of superhero television, and that means this is it. So I figured like we're gonna do this special on this is it. As Steve told me, I got to do some clickbait. I might put that as a
Keep
title.
it
This is
punchy,
it.
Chase. Keep
The
it
end
punchy. Come
of
on, man.
superhero television as we know it, Steve.
Is this the end of the superhero cycle? Are we at the end of the golden age of superheroes? Is this it, Chase?
I think so, Steve. I think so. Because like now I will say, wait a minute. We do have the boys. Thank God for the boys that are
Yeah.
gonna kick
Boy
off the
season
fall.
two's coming.
But this is not about the boys. It's not about that fall. But what I'm talking about is all the other previous shows that have filmed already have now come to an end. And that's what we're gonna talk about. So first thing we'll hit is the Umbrella Academy season
Yep.
2. They just had their run on Netflix, and I got to tell you, I've asked you already, Steve. Did you watch Umbrella Academy season 1?
Yep.
What was your overall thoughts season 1?
I thought it was good. It kind of had. I mean, it always to me that story it always had a sort of like a Dark Phoenix sort of like a vibe to it. But
Hmm.
that's probably because a lot of the focal point is about Ellen Page. This season felt more like a sort of an ensemble for me, but there was like obviously there was key elements to it: time travel, repercussions to events. It's you reap what you sow, all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
obviously, spoiler alert. Um, you know, uh, we end up with a massive paradox at the end of it.
Yeah. Now, I mean, like, so just me, I really didn't like season 1. I found it boring. I found it weird. I found it like, what the heck is going on? I wasn't really very familiar with Gerard Way's comic book, and everything. I love the marketing, right? I love the look of the Umbrella Academy and everything like
Yeah,
that. But we never really got them working together. They were spread out. I thought way too thin,
yeah,
and Ellen Page's what is she, number 6 or number, what was she, like number 6 or something like that? But she was the one with no powers. So she was Vanya. She had no powers and everything. So they ignored her a lot. And Ellen Page could play that kind of like outsider type and everything until she discovers her powers. She becomes the White Violin and destroys the moon, and the moon comes crashing down onto the earth and destroys the earth. Now, spoilers, but hey, yeah, should have watched it. The
Yeah,
show will have spoilers.
yeah,
So, 5, who I think is fantastic.
yeah,
Aiden Glenn, I think his name is.
yes.
But he's fantastic as this little old man character who can portal jump pretty much and everything. And so, in the end, when he sees that the asteroids are coming and stuff like that, he jumps his family out. So, season 2 starts at the beginning of them being jumped into the past and everything, but they land in different um, parts, different periods leading up to the assassination of JFK. So in the early '60s and everything. And so he has to find them and put them together and all of that. And I think this was a much better season. This was much better. The characters were more fleshed out. Maybe the actors knew who they were and stuff. It was a much more intriguing
Do you
plot.
think the reason that the why that is because with the sort of the plot device of having it start with the world end, people going back in time, trying to alter history, that there's
Mm-hmm.
almost an element of there's a real focus point. There's a mission. It's almost like a people on a mission, really.
Yeah.
It's almost as if it's, to me, what season 2 of Umbrella Academy is. It's almost like the antithesis of season 2 of Heroes, in the fact that both seasons deal with time travel, but with Heroes, it's not about bringing people together in season 2. It's almost like about being sort of like wedged apart, and it doesn't really go anywhere. And it's kind of like when Heroes goes downhill, but with Umbrella Academy, because there's this impetus to get the family back together and
Yeah,
to
but
alter
also,
history,
but
it kind of motions things along a little better,
But
pace
also
wise.
too is the family weren't sure if anybody else had survived. So like in that aspect, what it was about was who am I if I'm not in the Umbrella Academy?
Yeah.
So what they all had to do was because they all had to survive on their own, right, and figure out how they were going to be, how they were going to live. Like some were there for 2 years, some was there for a year, that kind of thing. And it was really interesting to see where they ended up and stuff, and everything. But I also really liked. I know you were saying stuff about Ellen Page, but I really liked Ellen Page's character here because she grew up without a family in a way because she was always felt ostracized.
Yeah.
And even though she destroyed the world, when they came together, they knew you're our sister, you have power, maybe too much power, but they actually had moments where they treated her like a family and she got to be, having siblings. And I like that. I like that. The family blended, and that to me was where the heart of the show was, is those moments and those scenes and everything, you know?
Mhm.
And but then you got the mysterious dad, Hargreaves, who is working for Majestic 12. Now, this is not, don't get me started. This is not a conspiracy show, but yeah, he's
But
worked for a
what
secret
the season
society.
did was it did take sort of like elements of like folklore and history and
Mm-hmm.
Majestic 12. And obviously, for people who don't know, is supposedly a part of a government organization that
Mm-hmm.
is investigating and covering up UFOs and stuff.
Yeah. An Illuminati type of society and everything. And they didn't have to say Illuminati, but they alluded to it.
Yeah.
And everything. But what I thought was really interesting, and I'm gonna say it again. Spoilers. Watch the show if you want to watch spoilers. But Hargreaves kind of like it's like, hey, we weren't supposed to do that thing. I'm angry,
Mhm.
and now I'm gonna take you all out. and like he takes off his head or his face, and he reveals a very weird shaping head and everything, and then he takes out Majestic 12, and and I think in the end of season one there was an allusion to Hargreaves being an alien, wasn't there?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like in I think there was a because that he could see the Holocaust or whatever, something like that. So, so again, the mystery continues. Like whoa, who is Hargreaves? What is Hargreaves? And what is actually his purpose? So that leads us to the end because when Five tells Hargreaves about his future, right? Five thinks that Hargreaves like, well, okay, I'll treat my kids better. And Five's thinking like, oh yeah, that's cool. But what he does is, I ain't taking on those damn kids. Forget that umbrella stuff. I'm going to create my own academy and everything. And it's the Sparrow Academy. And it has a whole new team of kids. And supposedly this is from the comics, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah. What was interesting about the last few moments was that obviously, apart from one of them,
Mm,
the sort of the team, the Sparrow team, in Shadow, in Shadow.
yeah.
So the idea that what people are thinking is it's actually going to be the main cast of the Umbrella Academy playing two roles next
Oh
season.
no 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 no
So
no no
just
no
possibility.
no. The idea would be is that because it can't be that because that means he would have still adopted the kids, right? But like what it'll
So he
be
would have brought them up differently.
no, because what it'll be is like because again, like I said, this is from the comics. What it'll be is that reason why we saw them in silhouette is because this was the end of season two. That gives them time to cast the
Well,
Sparrow
yeah,
Academy. So they don't show them because they want to show us, when they actually did the casting. But also too is reason why he probably kept Ben or still adopted Ben was because Ben wasn't there or he didn't see Ben, like when he met the Umbrella Kids. So he probably thinking, uh, okay, I'll take this kid then, everything. But then raising him that way, changed Ben's whole attitude. So we got to see Ben, after we had that nice tearjerker of a death sequence for him, which was really
yeah,
nice and everything. So one more thing I want to say about Umbrella Academy before we move on, because I just curious if you know the show is very convoluted with all the time travel stuff, right?
yeah.
So what I couldn't understand is when Five decided, okay, I know somebody who has a case, meaning I myself have a case when I came here to do submission, right? So let me go and find myself. But why is himself an old man? If he never grew up in the first place because he went into the future and got trapped for 40 years. So I couldn't understand why there's an older version of him in the 60s. Do you get it?
Well, I mean, the way I kind of like reason it is the fact that that older version of him has been bouncing around through time for an exceedingly amount of time, long amount of time. That's why he's older. So like
Right.
obviously ages differently, but he doesn't stop aging.
Yeah.
So it's just that is a really sort of like an old version of Five who has gone to 1963 because obviously that's a
Yeah.
pivotal moment in Five's life with everything
Yeah.
that goes on at
Well,
that point.
well, well, well. They revealed that Five was what is it, 63? No, that woman's no, she's not that old. Yeah, right. He was there. He was there on that JFK mission.
Yeah,
So he knew that he was sent there on a JFK mission. But what I'm just trying to say is that young Five, I was under the assumption that young Five never grew up because he got trapped in the future.
yeah.
So if you're saying that young Five came back like he did, and then he grew up, right? Then and he's still working for the commission, whatever, as an old man. So it just seemed really weird, but I didn't think it was explained too well. So that's why I
No,
just
I don't think it was explained too well. The fact that we have to debate it and sort of try and fill in the gaps
yeah,
ourselves is obviously like that is a narrative. That's a narrative problem. But
yeah.
maybe it's just the Doctor Who fan of me, but I just assumed that it was.
It was just a little bit timey-wimey, did you?
Yeah, it was just the fact that like the Doctor doesn't age normal speed, ages in a very sort of like protracted way, and now I just thought the five just did the same thing. That was
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
and it kind of fits with the Umbrella Academy because it takes a huge sort of swipe at
Hmm.
classic sort of like British television. A lot of it is sort of influenced
Yeah.
in terms of the,
Well, I'll just say if anybody knows, like I just might have missed something. If anybody wants to just comment in the chat about how was there an older five and young five knew about the older five, because that's the main thing is young five knew about him. So I'm just kind of curious as to what happened there. All right, so we're gonna move on. So we're gonna move on to the next show that has ended and ended rather abruptly, the Doom Patrol, because the Doom Patrol, I think we both will agree that that first season was fantastic. I think it had
yeah.
like 13. I think it even had 15 episodes.
Yeah, it
Um,
had more. It had a few more episodes than I thought it was going to have. It's sort of like, I mean, I'll say it went on too long, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, but I
yeah,
mean, like, I think it had like 15 episodes, but this
yeah,
season was supposed to have 10 episodes. So like they said, okay, we're gonna go even shorter, and they did all of their shooting because they shot last year, but then they were going to actually shoot their finale like around January, February, whatever, and they got caught in the pandemic storm, and they couldn't shoot that 10th episode. So, did you actually see the ninth episode?
um, you're probably going to spoil it for me, so
I will, because that's
go
what I
ahead.
do. I spoil. It's the end of the world as we know it. Sorry, Steve. Sorry.
It's okay, I understand. Just get out of your
How far
system.
did you get?
I'm literally, I'm on tenterhooks now, so you're going to spoil the whole thing for me. I got all the way to the end, and then, yeah, go ahead.
Well, hey, listen. We are all how shall we say disappointed because the ninth episode that aired as the last episode. I'll try to keep the spoilers down. The ninth episode that ended aired as the last episode. The Doom Patrol is finally doing another heroic mission, and everything, and they're going up against the Candlemaker and everything like that, and they fail and everything, leaving our lovely young Dorothy to kind of like try to go out as the hero and everything, and then it's like, what do you mean it's over? So we don't know.
Mm,
So we end up not knowing. And because they have not been confirmed for season 3, will we ever know? This is not even a sequence from the comic books that you can even allude
mm.
to and say, hey, did this happen in the comics? No. And everything.
Well,
So,
actually, you know what, Chase? There is a precedent, though, is the fact that usually what happens with the Doom Patrol is something bad usually happens with the Doom Patrol, and then the Doom Patrol goes out of publication until a few and then the following year or whatever.
and then they
And then
reinvented Doom Patrol.
they get a new team in, and then they reinvent the Doom Patrol. So, in fact, if that is the end of the Doom Patrol, it's kind of actually very Doom Patrol. So, it never that. I mean, it was never a
Okay,
comic.
okay. Yeah. You know what? I give you that, Steve. This would be cool if they did this. They won't, but this would be cool. So the original Doom Patrol, right? Our characters from the show are the original Doom Patrol. There have been other members of the Doom Patrol, like Steve is saying, but the original Doom
Well, Commander
Patrol.
James is never a part of the
Well, no, no,
original.
she was part of the new Doom Patrol, but I mean, like,
Oh, Sam Morrison Doom Patrol.
Negative Man, Robot Man, Elastigirl were the
Oh, yeah,
original
these
Doom
are
Patrol.
the
Those three was the original Doom Patrol with the chief. And there was this case. Do you remember this famous issue where the Doom Patrol was asked to sacrifice themselves on this island, right?
yeah,
And I don't know if it was General Mortis or whatever, but and so they had to stay on this island, and the villain blew it up, and he killed
yeah.
the Doom Patrol. And you're like, wait a minute, what? As the comic
Yeah.
reader, you're like, wait a minute, what? And the
Mm.
Doom Patrol was dead for several years until they were brought back, and everything. So this is kind of similar like that in a way where it's like the Doom Patrol is trying to, save Dorothy and they're all waxed by the candle maker, you know. But what was
I thought that the whole design with the candle maker,
was
Guillermo del Toro, kind of sprung to mind big time.
mm, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
It
yeah,
got that kind of vibe.
yeah.
And Clive Barker as well. It was definitely like a character that Clive Barker would
He had kind of like a candelabra on his head, and
have. Yeah,
somebody said he even looked like he had like high heels or something, which is strange. But he actually blows up Cliff.
yeah.
So that was a spoiler, bruv. You know what
Okay.
I mean? I mean, blows up Cliff. And this is what happens to the Robot Man. So if you followed Robot Man over the years, he's had very different incarnations in his outfit because he would always get like something will happen. You know what I mean? So that's where I felt it was kind of realistic in the comics because like he could you could do anything you want to Cliff's body as long as you don't do anything to his brain. So it's just what I mean and
Yeah.
stuff. And everything. So yeah, so that was bombastic. Um, Jane, let's talk about Jane for a second. She is a fantastic actress.
Yeah, she's amazing. I think that it's interesting with Jane because she's obviously the most sort of like powerful character.
Well, yeah, of course, of course, of course.
But
But
I find her to be sort of like um, the anchor of the TV show in a strange way. I find her to be
Anchor
sort of like a lot of the time she comes across as the most uh,
aggressive,
well
spoiled.
aggressive, yeah, but also strangely enough the most sensible in the fact
Mm.
that she will look at the ridiculousness of the situation that surrounds her, and then she ends up being the voice of the audience, even
Maybe
though
that's the
she has all this.
psychiatrist woman inside of her.
I think that's probably what it's supposed to be. Yeah,
No, but
yeah, she usually ends up being the one that looks around and goes, "Does anybody else think this is crazy?" But
yeah, but I mean, like I'm just meaning like her as an actress to
uh,
effectively play these different personalities and make them unique. That's what I mean. That's fantastic. And so her storyline this season was like, she had to battle her personalities for primary position. And like supposedly the original primary, Miranda, comes back, and then like how is she back? Not only does she come back, but she's black. But anyway, so in her calm and collected way, she takes over as primary, but then like something sinister is still going on because personalities start disappearing and everything, and it's a really creepy and cool thing that I want to just say about her. That was fantastic. So the did you see the Negative Woman episode? Please tell me you saw
oh yeah,
what they
yeah.
what did those guys call themselves?
Oh
Oh
God,
my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I
yeah.
freaking love them because they were definitely like kind of like a spoof of the Fantastic Four. You
Well,
know what I
wasn't
mean?
like
And the
Negative Woman?
challengers of the unknown.
Well, Negative Woman was part of in the comic books. She was part of the
Yes,
Doom Scroll
yes,
for
yes.
quite a while. So they're
Valentina.
coming in isn't something that's unusual.
I know, but this is what I'm trying to say. The show is great. Valentina Vostok was actually just like Joshua Clay. The black guy. He was the counselor overlooking the original Doom Patrol. He was also Tempest in as a member of the Doom Patrol. So like I love how they throw these Easter eggs out at us. So yeah, she Negative Woman was actually a member of the Doom Patrol. I mean, obviously, she hopefully will be back. to hopefully help Larry, control the negative spirit. But I just like the fact that they call themselves some stupid kind of name, not like the Fantastic Four, but like the Challengers of the Unknown.
Yeah,
And
it was a spin on the Challenge of the Unknown.
yeah,
Challenge of the
but
Unknown is the prototype for the
yeah,
Fantastic Four.
exactly. Which is also they've encountered the Doom Patrol in the comics in the early days. So it was I just love the fact that, oh my god, here come the Challengers of the Unknown, especially by them calling themselves like the I don't know, the Peters of the pile, whatever they call themselves.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just thought that was just excellent, and funny. They were taken over by spores, and there's so many different crazy villains, and each episode had a crazier and crazier, from the Sexmen to what is he? Not Doctor Time, or you know what I mean. And I mean, what did you think about all of these crazy villains?
I thought it was great because it was cool to see the whole sort of pantheon of the Doom
Yeah, because
Patrol.
they're real villains. Yeah,
Yeah, because let's face it. I mean, the first season it was Mr. Nobody from
the
from
whole
start
time.
to
Yeah,
finish. Yeah, the whole time. That's like, yeah, he's a great villain, but when it's one villain for an
yeah,
entire season, it kind of slows down a bit. But the fact that we got this sort of like more of a, and I think we're going to talk about this when we get to this like Stargirl,
yeah,
the idea of the Monster of the Week show, the fact that it was more of an action orientated show,
yeah.
maybe more than CW usually does. Um,
But I like that because these guys they were so weird that I'm pretty sure that the regular public was like, these can't be real, like, characters and stuff, and they were. They
yeah,
were
yeah.
real interpretations of real characters, and I mean, like, they went for it. I mean, I am going to really weep for the loss of DC Universe, because the risks that they've taken with all the shows that they've made and put out there. At least they've given us these shows, but, like, I would really find it hard pressed that CW or even HBO Max can maintain the same kind of creativity that DC Universe has given us. So I
Well,
would like to
the
just
thing
thank
is
them.
that well, do you think that a show like Doom Patrol is going to get an audience on HBO Max the way that they thought Doom Patrol was going to get them an audience on the DC universe?
Well, see the problem is that, like, because Doom Patrol had nudity and all that other kind of stuff in the show, it was perfect for HBO Max. But I think what happened, because when people were like trying to run the numbers, what happened is that they put it on HBO Max, but they still had it on DC Universe. So people were still watching DC Universe to watch the Doom Patrol. They weren't going to HBO Max just to watch Doom Patrol. So, like, once DC Universe is gone, I mean, hopefully HBO Max won't look at the low numbers of Doom Patrol on HBO Max and just figure, okay, now we'll get all those starving numbers. Hopefully that's how somebody smart should think about it. But
Yeah,
they were in competition with DC Universe, and so HBO Max didn't pick up the numbers for the ratings. That's what I heard. So that's what's kind of worrying. All right. So anyway, but although fantastic season, you know, and everything. Great dynamics of character with Brendan Fraser and Matt Bomer. I mean, they might just be considered to be doing voice acting, but I think they're doing a lot more than voice acting, because they're making their stunt doubles really, pull out the heart of their heart to heart conversations, I think.
and Timothy Dalton as the chief.
Well, my God, Timothy Dalton is a dream, man. He is a freaking dream. I mean, like, oh man, my mouth was agape so many times, especially like when he pressed the button and launched Cliff out into space. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's why, right, with Cliff just cursing, it's perfect, because he's just like, fuck, 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 I'm gonna kill him, you know,
Yeah,
and everything. And obviously, you've seen the trailers, because there was that moment where he flies through the billboard that has the Animal Vegetable Mineral Man book on it. So when he went into space, I was like, oh, so that's probably how he does that, because he just drops like a lead weight back to planet Earth and stuff,
Yeah.
But no, fantastic. All right. So anyway, so moving on, right? So before we get to the highlight of the conversation, which is Stargirl for me, I just want to hit Marvel's Agents of Shield. Now, this is the last show that hasn't ended yet, right?
And it's the last episode of Agents of Shield.
Well, I believe it's tomorrow. Well, by the time this airs, it would have aired, but it hasn't aired yet. The final 2-hour episode of Agents of Shield. Now, I got to tell you, I've watched Agents of Shield throughout its whole like 7 seasons. I hated that we had to wait a whole year for this to come out, but it it kind of was treading the shark for me a little bit, and I think for everybody, like when they went off into space, into the future, and all of this other kind of stuff. But I was kind of curious as to what were they going to do by going back in time. But I'm glad they didn't stay back into time. So it was just a shame that we didn't get Peggy Carter, right? But we got
Yeah.
Agent Souza, and he's been fantastic.
Well, we
But
still have 2 hours to go. I mean, you say we have got Peggy Carter. I mean, we never know. We may get.
well, we're in the '80s, bruv, and I don't know what time period we're going to be in now, but I think we're going to stay in the '80s. We're in the
Well,
'80s.
I mean, Peggy Carter's alive and well in the 80s. I mean, she's older, but
Yeah. As an older
you
woman,
could age her up,
yeah, as an older one. Um, hmm, um,
Yep, that's good.
yeah. So I mean, but I don't think that we're going to get Peggy now. But I just liked how we had gotten Afterlife. We had gotten a lot of the old characters. Like coming back onto the show. I loved having the new Shield team with Deep Squad and everything, and that they, some of them got actually hired on to Shield. Um, but and my favorite episode. Please tell me you saw the time loop episode.
Yeah. I remember the time you said.
The where it's like I just love that whole thing where you keep going back to one or whatever and stuff,
No,
and they had to do it like about I don't know, like 800 times or something. But
it's becoming the whole idea of doing like like a Groundhog Day episode.
yeah, that's what I mean. Groundhog Day. Yeah, that's what it was. And it was only like Daisy and Coulson who knew and everything. But this was the one that like ended it for spoilers for our man Enoch. You know what I mean? And everything. Now I was very curious, and I'm just gonna ask you, I don't know, like I'm kind of like they've kind of mentioned now that they want to save the timeline or restore the timeline, and the bad guy characters are kind of like saying there's no. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like Daisy's sister. Spoiler. But I meant like that there is no timeline to restore. This is it. You are now in the new timeline, and you can't return back to the old timeline. So you're kind of like figuring, well, then what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna be? So speculation time, Steve. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody had pointed out, and it's kind of rather funny, that Enver Govaj, whatever, D'Souza, was an extra in Avengers Endgame.
Oh yeah.
Where he played a cop, right?
Right. Okay.
And I didn't even recognize him, but I'm like, oh really? So somebody put a still and everything like that. So like so speculation time. When this ends, will the Agents of Shield actually end up in the Marvel continuity, right?
Well, here's the thing, right? Okay, so this 2-hour episode is coming out after Jeff Loeb has left the Marvel television setup, right?
Well, he's been
So,
gone.
so he's gone. So we're now in a post Loeb. We're now in a Feige, controlled sort of
We're in the Feige Beyond the
environment.
Universe, yes.
Yeah. So it depends now what Feige wants to do. Does he just want to kind of keep all this kind of stuff separate and then basically just mothball it and shelve it and never really reference it again? But
Well,
I don't think he can do that because you've got Coulson being too much of a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not just with Avengers, but with Captain Marvel as well. So I think that there's a good possibility that something could happen.
well, I'm just saying that, that they end up they're in the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Captain Marvel was set in the 70s, right?
It wasn't set in the 70s.
Yeah, it was. Was it? Yeah, it was. It was set in the 70s.
90s.
The 90s, you sure?
Yeah, that's why she's wearing a Nine Inch Nails t-shirt.
Okay, fine. All right. So then all right. So said in the 90s. But what I'm trying to say is, so she hasn't shown up yet. But what I'm trying to say is the fact that they could end up being in the reason why we haven't seen them actually interact in all the other Avengers stuff is because they weren't there. They were in another timeline. But
Right.
now they could end up in a timeline with the Avengers continuity. But what the Chronicons did last episode before the one that aired, this one, is that they blew up all of the shield bases. So,
Yeah.
in that aspect, is that we could actually end up when this is all said and done with Sword. So something completely new.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we saw Nick Fury on that spaceship and everything like that, you know what I mean? Hanging out with the squirrels, right? And stuff, that didn't happen yet. But that spaceship could be Sword. So the new shield agents like Roxy Glass and the Chang twins and all of that could end up becoming agents of Sword, as well as Daisy, whereas other people may retire. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking is that the hint is this season has been very popular for them. They all moved on to other jobs, right? And everything else like that. Not Chloe Bennett. The gorgeous Chloe Bennett is still looking for a job. But even the director said, because I watched their Zoom calls with Elizabeth Henstridge, and even he said, "Hey, we don't know, because this thing has been going so well that we don't know. We may end up getting a call. You just don't know, right?
I,
Like
I
people
think so.
might
Here's what
say,
I
bring
think.
back Shield, but don't bring back Shield. Bring back the new Shield or bring back Sword."
Okay. All right. I'm gonna spitball an idea. Okay, so we've got a 2-hour episode coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if in the course of this 2
What
episode,
if? What if?
okay, what if Coulson gets thrown back in time to to World War II now, and he reinvents Shield back then, right? Or invents a new version of Shield that basically all the sort of the tragedies that have happened over the last sort of so many years of Agents of Shield, he sort of goes back. He's there to sort of re-steer the ship almost, so that we don't get sort of the infiltration of Hydra and all this kind of stuff, and maybe we get a new Shield,
Right.
and that
Yeah.
also leads into Sword, and then we get he's because he's a LMD, he obviously doesn't age.
Yeah.
So Coulson's, so we get like a new timeline with Coulson now, but he's created a sort of like a better timeline, maybe a happy ending. Because I think what's going to happen is we're going to get these characters having happy endings. I think,
Yeah,
and
kind of like.
the one character that's going to be able to do that timeline wise is going to be the only way to sort of like unravel this timeline that they're stuck in now is to go even further back, and then at that point in history make sure that this one doesn't exist. That's the only way to sort of like unravel what's happened, and the only character that can do that would have to be a character that doesn't age and can sort of like sustain themselves over like
Oh,
so
you
many
mean
years.
kind of like that's why they killed off Enoch because like Enoch survived those
Well,
20 some odd years. No, I'm just trying to say what you're saying. I'm just
yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah.
Enoch survived, and he just survived just by like staying off the radar. But what you're saying is that Coulson could actually go back and rejigger everything,
But
and
I'm gonna put a
so
spin on it,
everybody has
right?
to give their like sad goodbyes to him or something like that.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know.
But here's the thing, right? So he goes up all the way back. He reinvents the timeline. He gives them all happy endings. But when we cut
Mhm.
to now, right? Here's the thing. I don't think that he can go on forever. I think that he's going to shut down, and then we cut to now, and he gets to see how he's managed to re-steer the ship, recreate, a better history for everybody. And then that's kind of like his sort of like he hasn't got much longer to go, and then eventually he shuts down, and then that's the end of the show because he shuts down and the show shuts down, and that's it.
Wow, man, you hit me at the feels and stuff.
I'm just saying that's kind of like how I would do it, but that's just me.
Well, no. I think it makes sense. I don't think you have to kill off Colston because I think that was what the problem with season 5 was is that like you can't kill off Colston. Colston has to go
Well, I
on.
think the problem with Coles having Colson back in the present has always been this. It's always been it robs the Avengers of that moment with Loki.
No, man, but the moments happened
You
already.
know,
I
I
think.
know that. I know that it's already happened. But that has always been sort of like the sticking point for a lot of fans is the fact that it sort of takes something away from the Avengers by having him back. But a lot of people like Coulson, so they don't mind. But I
Yeah,
think kind of like having your cake and eat it is the fact that if this happens with the LMD, he goes through all this whole situation, he rewrites time, he puts everybody on the right path, everyone gets a happy ending, he gets to witness it and then pass. That's sort of like the end of the Coulson story. The movies can move on without him. You know, there's
yeah.
sort of like this.
You know what?
It's
Okay.
got a weird relationship with the Marvel Cinematic Universe
Yeah.
and the fact that it sort of
Let me let
exists within it and doesn't.
let me piggyback on your idea because I do like it, but I'm gonna give it a twist.
Uh-huh.
Right? I think that because all those bases, right, got destroyed, right, by the Chronicons. That means I think even young Coulson got killed. Yeah. And I think that I like the idea that Coulson goes back to remake the Marvel Universe, right? So he goes back to make sure that, Daisy's mom doesn't die, that Mac's parents don't die, right? He goes back to make sure that maybe May ends up with her partner who doesn't turn into the alien night guy. I think that he can go and reset things, and as he has reset everything, that he Coulson the LMD becomes Coulson the newbie working for Nick Fury, meeting Captain Marvel, getting killed by Loki, finding Thor's hammer in the desert.
Doesn't he
You
say in
know what I
Avengers?
mean?
Doesn't he say in Avengers Science pretty off chase? Isn't there a line with Coulson in the Avengers where he looks at a captain and goes, "I've been a fan of yours for a very long time."
but when he goes back into the past, I think he's going to be in Camp Lehigh. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's just I'm just looking at something that is just like kind of like cute clips of Coulson, through history. Do you know what I mean? Making sure that things happen. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And he could do that little nod of like, seeing young Steve Rogers working out and something like that. But I'm just trying to say
yeah,
is that I like your idea that he's the one who goes back into the past, resets everything, because he's a chronicom like Enoch. He can live that long or whatever. But he also will have to relive his, Coulson moments. But it won't be Coulson the human being, it'll be Coulson the LMD. Do you see what I mean? And
yes,
stuff.
absolutely.
So even down to getting killed by Loki and something like that. So I'm saying is that he would make sure all of those things happen. And then when like in the end when Fury or whatever is on that sword ship, you know, um, Coulson is, new man on the sword ship as well, and as it's taking off, whatever, doing its thing. Because I think what the final battle shows us is the space battle. It shows us that the biggest threat that Earth has is from space, which is why Feige's Beyond the Universe is going to be all, or he wanted it to be all like this cosmic thing, that you have to have the cosmic Avengers, and you have to have the Earthbound Avengers. So if you have the cosmic Avengers, then you could have like the cosmic sword team. Do you see what I mean? And I think that, but spending like way too much time on that. But I think that's just a prediction. But I like what I'm trying to say is I like your idea of Coulson
Oh,
going
thanks,
back.
Sid. Appreciate it.
What? Oh
Thank,
no no
thank
no
you.
no
Yeah,
no
thank you.
no! I think. But I mean, I just added a little caveat to it because
Yeah, no, I like that.
you know. But
Yeah, I do.
either way is I'm sad to see it go. All right, so Stargirl. So our final look into Stargirl because I would like to encourage everyone on here who actually catches this show is I have a full episode breakdown on the Essential channel where this appears and everything. So please watch that. Sometimes some people say, "Hey, I don't even have to watch the show because your breakdown just breaks everything down." But me and Steve was having I wouldn't say an argument or a disagreement, but we were having
No,
like a
I
little
wouldn't say
tater.
an argument.
We
I
were,
was
we
just,
were
I was
having
just
a
pointing.
tater tate about like he called the show soapy, and I said, "Trust me, bruv, I watch enough CW to know what soapy is, and this show is not
No, you,
soapy."
no, you've watched a lot of bad soap. I'm not saying it's bad soap. I'm just saying it's got soap opera elements in it.
Well, okay, whatever soap, that's just interaction stuff, and you need that drama, but it has mainly superhero stuff. So Stargirl is fantastic. So it starts out with the Justice Society fighting the Injustice Society. Now that is fantastic in itself in live action, and we get Starman, who's played by Joe McHale, funny guy from Community and stuff, who was Stripesy or Pat Dugan's partner, played by Luke Wilson. So Luke Wilson gets him out of there and everything, and Starman gives him his staff, and he says, find somebody who's worthy of this, but not you. All right. And then so it turns out that Luke Wilson ends up meeting the girl and marrying her, and she has a daughter, and they move to Blue Valley because that seems to be where the mission is leading him, and she wants to go back there anyway. So it works out win-win. And Stargirl, Courtney Whitmore, she finds the staff, and she spends about 5 to 7 episodes thinking that she's Starman's daughter. Now, we in the audience were kind of like not really impressed there about that because we're like, I don't know, it can't be, really can't be, it can't be. But nobody's really like cluing her in, and so she's wild, she's impetuous, she's ambitious, but she manages to inspire her fellow losers clubs in high school to take on the artifacts of the JSA, and even though if they're legacy or not. So we got the son of our man. We got a girl who takes on the Wildcat outfit, but
Yeah.
she actually was a big fan of Ted Grant, the Wildcat. and then we got a young nerdy girl who gets the goggles of Dr. Midnight, and his AI is inside the goggles and everything. So that those three become our Justice Society, and the soapy. I don't like to call it soapy, but the interactions of in the school is that the parents, half of the parents are supervillains, and they have kids. And we've never seen this kind of concept before, and I just
Well,
think
we
this
have
is
with the,
fantastic.
well, we
Oh,
have
well, okay,
seen.
okay. Yes, we have with the Runaways. We
Yeah.
did talk about the Runaways. I'm sorry, we haven't seen it this good, but
No, what I was going to say
you're
is the
right.
fact that I think this is a better version of the Runaways than the
Oh
Runaways
yeah,
TV.
yeah,
Well, season two onwards, that's what we were
yeah,
discussing. Season one of the Runaways was good.
yeah.
Season
Definitely.
two onwards, not so good.
No,
But this is
definitely.
definitely a better version of the Runaways, season two on.
But what was really great about the motivations of the bad guys is that they weren't mustache twirling bad guys. Well, maybe the gambler is, but but
Mhm.
they actually have what is an idyllic motivation. Like they want to change the world, but they want to be in control of it. So they want to take over the minds of people who they want. You have to think in a particular way because, like, Brainwave thinks everybody has monstrous thoughts anyway. But they're led by the Icicle, and this guy is ice cold, but he really, really wants justice his way. And that means I will kill for justice, extremely, and it's just kind of, but it's delicious. It's delicious. Um,
Well, there's one cool thing I really love about this whole sort of concept, and you sort of nailed it right there, is the fact that you can, you can start up. I know the old saying about, you start on a path of good intentions. I
yeah,
forget where that saying goes,
yeah.
right?
A road is paved with
So
good intentions.
exactly right. So you've almost got a bunch of villains that could have been heroes in their day that have sort of like become jaded and twisted, and they've lost sight of what's good and what's evil, right?
Yeah,
So our heroes, you never know what could happen to them. It only takes a couple of bad days to push somebody, one way or the other. Is this where eventually is this where all heroes end up? I mean, if you think about, say, Hawkman's always sort of kind of like been a kind of a character that's
yeah,
100% being a good guy. So, is that something that
yeah.
our heroes could end up with? And also, I think there's, I mean, I hate to say it, but the idea that it is kind of like a young adult concept,
Yeah,
but
why?
done well, And so it's not vampires, it's superheroes, right?
No, no,
So,
no. You're right. You're right. I mean, because you got our man who is fueled by rage of his parents' death, and when he finds out that Solomon Grundy was behind it, all he wants is vengeance. You know what I mean? And like in the final fight sequence, like it's really, like they finally let Solomon Grundy out of the box, right?
mhm.
And it's like one of those things, this is money, it's effects, right? And everything like that. But Solomon Grundy and Stripe go at it big style. And he just he just rips that suit apart, you know. And Rick comes in, he goes, "My turn," right? But he only got like 5 minutes, and so he's like welling on like Solomon Grundy and everything like that. But to the point where Solomon Grundy is actually afraid. Now we've never seen this from Solomon Grundy in any kind of incarnation, where that he's taken on kind of like the role of like a beast or a wounded dog. Do you know what I mean? And but it I think they chose that because our man wants to kill him the whole season. And this is his moment. He's ready to deliver like the final blow and stuff. And you got to ask yourself, I mean, should heroes kill? And they shouldn't. They should find another way. There should always be another way. and everything. And I'm glad they put him into that kind of moral, dilemma there. And I think that was really nice. But Wildcat, they don't go down that road because, like she's going after Brainwave, and as we know, Brainwave Junior was killed like two episodes ago, and everything, and she felt bad because she felt remorse for him, and she, what could have been. So she's facing off all these drones, in the usual hallway fight, and then one of the drones takes his hood off, and it's like Henry. I'm like, oh my god, he's alive, he's alive. They fooled us. Nope. because he makes a slip up as he usually do, and he says like, where your friends at? And she says, my friends. What? And she slices his throat, right? And then it's like, oh no. She's like, they were your friends. You know what I mean? And it's revealed that it was Brainwave, his dad, taking over his son's body and stuff and everything. So, and she just said to him, "I'll now," because she watched Henry die. So she said to him, "And now I'm gonna watch you die." Now that's cold. That's some cold stuff. I don't say that Brainwave didn't deserve it, but they're really, when you choose to have your hero be a killer, you gotta kind of like think about these things, So
well,
like
there'll be repercussions. I mean that's just the nature of.
yeah,
Of
you know what I'm saying. But so Courtney comes in, and like when she tells Courtney, I killed him. She doesn't know how to react. Do you know what I mean? And everything, but they got to stay on point, stay on mission, and everything that they do and stuff. I know those are like spoilers and everything. I'm not spoiling everything, but it was really good. It was fantastic. I totally enjoyed this whole season. It was short enough. It was 13 episodes. It was delicious every week to wait for it, even. I might just go back and just do one big binge on it because it is worth that.
That's one of the great things. One of the pluses I think for this season, this series, or over stuff like the Flash, Arrow, Batwoman, is the fact that a shorter season allows the chaff to be cut from the wheat. You can tell a more concise, more urgent story.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though you have so many characters too. I mean, you have so many characters in this show and everything, and like you can
wait till Legends of Tomorrow. So. Legends of Tomorrow usually has about 13 episodes.
Yeah. Well, not usually, but it did this year. Yeah, it did this season.
Yeah. It works better for that show. It might have been better going down that route for Batwoman, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I think, I think like, next season they should just make all shows like 13 or so. I mean, like what they're talking about right now is they're talking about Black Lightning doing like season 4 and 5 back to back. But they're going to be obviously 13, 15, whatever episodes. So, I mean, I think that's what really they should just do for everybody. I think Flash, everybody should do 13, 15 episodes because we're going to get a short season anyway. We're going to be starving for that content when it finally comes on. But, that's what they should do. So, season 2, any predictions? Because they did give us, a couple of things at the tail end here. Do you have any predictions from what you saw, or what do you want to see for season 2?
Season 2. What do I want to see? Season 2. Maybe I'm being a bit sort of ambitious here, but I'd like to see some Green Lantern stuff coming in.
I think we definitely will be seeing, because we did have the Green Lantern, but we also had, I believe, the Starheart that used to belong to Alan Scott with the inside the Green Lantern glowing. So we did get that legacy item.
Yeah. So that's what I'd like to see. We know there's going to be a Green Lantern. There was planned. I mean, hopefully it still go ahead. A Green Lantern TV show.
Yeah. That's still working on a Green Lantern TV show. Yeah.
But I'd like that. So, but that could initially appear in Stargirl. At least as some sort of,
Yeah.
tie-in. So that's kind of
Well,
like
we
a.
know, we know, we know. Stargirl is supposed to be confirmed to do a crossover with the Flash, so we do know that somehow either he's coming over or she's coming over. But so we know that's going to be.
He's getting the gold boots or yellow boots, isn't he? The Flash.
Is he? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, I didn't hear
The
that.
guy,
I
the
didn't
guy,
hear.
the
I
guys
saw, I
with the
saw,
suit.
I saw something about the blue suit, and I was like, I don't remember seeing the blue suit,
The
which
blue
was like
suit.
cobalt blue.
The blue suit, if it is to do with what I think it's to do with,
Cobalt blue.
either that or he had the blue suit when he got the Blue Lantern ring.
Oh yeah, that's right. The indigo. Yeah. Right. Okay, that's
So
true.
this could be a possibility. There could be linked to
Right. Well, let
delving
me let
the
me let
idea of
me.
spectrum.
So
So,
let me give you some spoiler hints
so
that they showed, right? Because one is really huge. So one is the shade finally shows up. All right.
wow.
So after all the villains are done, then he's like, "I told you, Jordan, you should have did it my way." Right? Um, and what else was that? Starman is alive.
Whoa.
And he comes to Blue Valley looking for Pat and stuff. Oh, wait a minute. Was it Blue Valley? Well, he shows up to Pat's old house. So it might not be, it might be Los Angeles. So he says, "Yes, Joel McHale says, yes, I'm Sylvester Pemberton." So I'm like, yes.
No, here's the thing, right? For me, is that did you read the Jack Knight Starman?
Yeah.
See, that's Starman.
Yeah, no, I want Jack Knight too, and I'm not saying that we won't get Jack Knight. I'm just saying
Mm,
that, like, I mean, Joe, he opened and closed the series, and everything, because remember they didn't even know they were gonna have a season two.
yeah.
So like, they just probably just wanted to just put that in there just to kind of like go, yeah, he's alive. But so so some mysterious girl is rummaging through the wizard's house, right? Going through his
Hmm.
files and everything like that. And you're thinking, wait a minute, what's going on? Is there going to be a female wizard? Is his wife not dead? What's happening? Who's this girl? And it turns out to be Shiv, right? And
Hmm.
she finds the blue diamond. Do you know what that is? If you didn't know what it was, she says, "Hello, Eclipso."
Oh, no.
Boom! Big drop, bruv. That means season 2 is going dark and everything. Season 2 is going dark.
Well, I mean, season one was pretty dark.
No. I meant, like, don't you remember the big, crossover was when
Oh yeah,
Eclipso,
oh yeah, I know.
had possessed, like the heroes and everything?
Oh yeah.
That's what
There's
I
definitely
meant.
that. Oh that.
That.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, literally.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
All right. Hey, I'm a Marvel guy. Do you know what I
she
mean?
she says hello, Eclipso, with the diamond, shoots the through the eye and everything. So I was like, oh my god, they went there. That is like deep cut, that, bro. And
Yeah.
everything. And so I don't think Huntress and Sportsmaster are dead, right? But we do have the kids of the villains, so they could pick up on. So we got Huntress, Icicle Jr., and the Fiddler. So we got those guys as well. So,
Yeah.
and we have the Thunderbolt pen. Don't forget, Mikey's little friend Jakeem. So that's Stargirl, man. I mean, I'm Did
Do you
I
think this is the
inspire you to
first?
watch it? Did I inspire you to watch it, Steve, in full?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Do you think this is the first time that they've done a superhero TV show, DC at least,
Mm-hmm.
where they fully embraced the
The
sort of the
comic?
pantheon? Yeah, the comics. Yeah,
Totally, bruv. I mean, this is Jeff Johns the way Jeff Johns wanted to be, should be. Let him go, bruv. Let Jeff Johns do the Legion of Superheroes. You know what I mean? They should let Jeff Johns, come in and do Supergirl season 6 because I heard that they were going to allude back to the Legion and with Melissa Benoist's pregnancy and maternity leave, they should bring back the Legion of Superheroes. You know what I'm saying? Please, man, I want that series. I want that series so bad. I want it so
do you think
bad.
Jeff Johns? I mean, Jeff Johns has got a lot to prove, hasn't he? Because obviously he
Well, no,
was
but this is what I mean. This
when
is
he
what I
became
mean.
when he became the
He has
DC. Sorry,
he's become
sorry,
corrupted.
sorry, just to say. So Jeff Johns, just to quick backstory, was one of the head honchos for Warner Brothers
Yeah,
DC film division,
yeah,
and obviously there was a change up
yeah.
due with the reaction to Justice League. He got bounced. James Wan came in. Um, so do you think that he's got something to prove in regards to being able to tell these bigger sort of um, more sort of like traditional sort of like superhero stories without it being sort of like watered down or anything, more like a comic book?
I think he does. I think that that stuff that happened over at Warner Brothers with Justice League wasn't just Jeff. It was Jeff. It was John Berg. And some woman was involved as well. And I think Jeff was just too busy trying to please, and thought he could save stuff. And he wasn't there. I mean, Jeff's a writer. He's not a director. He's not a producer. He's a writer. And he's written these episodes of Stargirl that are fantastic. And he had just kind of like hung back and just said, yeah, do this, do that. That'd be good. If you want to go full comic, let's go full comic. And I think that when the numbers come out, it'll be shown that yes, Jeff does know what he's doing. But when he was at Warner Brothers and they made him CCO, whatever, and all that kind of stuff, that was giving him too much power, and he was too busy being above the line and not down in the trenches.
Yeah,
Like when we were talking about Kevin Feige at the beginning, when Kevin Feige worked for Marvel Film Entertainment, Avi Arad and all those guys that doing the Spider-Man movies and the X-Men movies, he was just a lower guy on the echelon. Him and Jeff Johns are boys. I think they
yeah,
went to college together or were roommates or something. But either way, is it that they both know comics, and it was supposed to be that like when Brian Siegel didn't have a clue as to what the X-Men were, he didn't even read a comic. Kevin Feige had to smuggle comics in. Look, I don't know what he's talking about, but this is Wolverine. You know what I mean? And where that joke about the yellow spandex was an ad lib. And that was the biggest joke that worked in that movie. Because the movie was, what are we watching? Like 3 or 4 guys in black. What happens when the toe gets hit by lightning? Come on, who wrote this
I
crap?
know. It's like some sort of like. I mean, I think without certain influences, like you said, like Kevin Feige, he probably would have ended up being some like weird subpar Matrix movie. It seemed like it was. That's kind of like the
Yeah, but that's because that that worked for the time. You know what I mean? But it was like, you had when it's like Kevin Smith said like the other day. Like he's working on some project. I'm not sure what it is, but I think this was a year ago. He said it anyway. But he was saying that the studio had changed in the past 10 years. Now they actually have executives who are geeks, who are writers, who are into this stuff. So
yeah.
like when they give notes, their notes are actually helpful as opposed to, yeah, I don't know what the hell a Wolverine is. What is that? What that's the kind of animal? Is it a wolf? You know what I mean? Like you don't know what are you doing here, man? You don't, you know. So I mean,
Yeah.
the system has changed, and and you can see it because we got all of this different content that's out there. But as we said, man, we're moving into now the Feige Beyond the universe. You know, so the superhero universe as we know it,
Only
is
5G.
come to an
Yeah.
end. It's come to an end, and we'll have to see. I really feel bad. I mean, like, like, let me just get your final thoughts on this, man, because we it's August, and we were supposed to be getting Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? We was supposed to have seen Black Widow by now.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have seen trailers for the Eternals. WandaVision, and I'm scared, bruv. I'm scared, man. Because it's kind of like, a year delay is we're used to a year delay, but this is gonna
Yeah.
be 2 3 years delay. Do you know what I mean? And
Well, look.
stuff.
Well, look. Here's the upside, right? Um, Disney's lost a couple of $1 billion already because of the theme parks being closed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but
They're
they'll get that
desperate.
money back.
If theme parks open, the thing I'm trying to say is, it they're gonna have to go all in on the streaming service to be a big hit for them right now. So it's not necessarily bad news when it comes to the Marvel properties or Star Wars, because they'll probably get, even though they've lost a couple of $1 billion in investment, their importance as being audience grabbers and getting that market share that they're trying to wrestle from Netflix is going to be huge. So they're going to pour more money into these shows anyway. So the Marvel shows will be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I know, man, but it's just the fact that, like, I myself have not been to the pictures in like about, I don't know, 5 6 months. You know what I mean? And it's just that, now I'm just amazed at how much shooting was shot last year. That we made it this far. Because like
Yeah,
I was a fan of the Blacklist, and like I remember, like, like the Blacklist, they only shot like about 3/4 of their final episode, and but what they ended up doing was they ended up creating a cartoonized version of the
yeah,
missing clips. So they had the audio, and then they just like would cut to a cartoon, so that way it still feel like you got the film going. And it was fine, I mean, they explained it at the beginning what they were doing, but that was just because they wanted to give us their final episode and everything. But like, so when Doom Patrol couldn't give us their final episode, but other series managed to, well, no, Flash couldn't do it. Supergirl, so it's crazy, man. It's like when you end, not at the end, and
yeah. But
now
I mean,
they're
we're
not
in
starting.
uncertain times, though, right? So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think coming out of all this, the problems of AMC, being a distributor, film distributor in the
Yeah,
States. I mean,
AMC. Yeah.
yeah, I mean they've been moving a lot of this stuff
Well,
now.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
like saying that a film only has to be in the theater for 17 days
yeah.
before
So
it goes
the
on
whole
demand.
experience, the whole film experience is changing. The whole relationship with watching things at home on a small screen is changing. So I mean, we don't really know where we're going to be in like 12 months' time. But
Well,
I think we can safely say that when it comes to DC TV and Marvel TV, I think we're going to be in a solid place because there are proof properties people want to see. So in the end, and the bottom line is, if people want it, Hollywood try to give it to them. So.
well, you know what though? I mean, so my last thing on that is, I just started watching The American Big Brother, right? And everything. So it just started Friday night. Wait a minute, wait. Before you give me that look, reason why I'm mentioning it is because this is the first program that is actually kind of like filmed after the lockdown, right? This is not some Zoom call and everything like that. So what they did was they put the contestants in quarantine for 2 weeks, right? And then they brought them into the studio, so they were still masked up, and everything. But then the COVID-19 protected the house. So like when they said when you go through those doors, you could take off your mask and everything and participate in the game. Now you're in a lockdown bubble, right? Just as we are. Like if you go in your house, you'll still like be with your family and hanging out and doing all that kind of stuff. So it was really kind of weird, right? So when they sent them in force and stuff to do a competition game and stuff. And then after the game, then they started hugging each other and everything and talking. And then it was weird because after you've been in lockdown for 6 months, right? You got like, oh my God, they touched. Right? Well, because what I was worried about, reason why I brought it up, what I was worried about was because this is what they've been saying that they've done to Canada and Canada productions like CW and stuff, is that they want to quarantine them for 2 weeks, and then they'll put them into like some studio set, right? That is just them and everything. But what I was worried was how are they going to film it? Because can you touch somebody? Can you kiss somebody? Can you whenever interact and everything? But so watching this show now, I'm going to go watch it right now. Watching the show
Mm-hmm.
now, it's like people are all doing all that. It's all normal, right? So this is production. So production can actually shoot. So production shooting all over the world, right? New
But they're still
Zealand
making, they're
and
still making. I mean, I know it's not in front of live audiences, but they've still got.
no, it's no
Um,
live audience. It's no live
no,
audience.
no,
I mean,
no, 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 now, let me explain. Now, what I'm trying to say is because you were saying about touching and stuff and kissing. Both WWE and AEW, the wrestling shows in the US, are still putting out shows. What they do is they bring the wrestlers in, they test them. In AEW's case, they put them up in a hotel that's close by to where they're filming in Florida,
yeah,
and then they sort of kept in this sort of like an isolation, so like a bubble, and then you kind of like come out of that, and then you can like
yeah, but
perform
that's what I
on.
mean. That's what I mean.
So
So
I
you could
mean,
go and
but
still
you're
film.
talking about but what I'm saying is you're talking about physical contact. So I'm basically saying is that yes, they will because there's a precedent for this sort of thing.
No, I know, Steve. That's what I'm trying to say is that I was worried as to how they were going to, get over the stigma. But I'm glad to see. Like I don't watch AEW. I heard of it, but I'm glad to
Yeah.
see that people can still do what you normally would do.
Well, I
Like
mean, it was a bit of a dodgy situation because this is going way off topic, but
yeah, I know. I should be cutting the recording
yeah,
out.
yeah. But I mean, it was dodgy initially how it all kind of like was set up, especially in the WWE side. But I mean, the AEW side they've figured out a way of doing testing at least. So when it comes to let's get it back on topic, back on track. When it comes to shows like The Flash going forward, um, coming back for a new season, there is a way of getting a crew together, getting them tested, keeping them isolated from everybody else, and then going through the motions and putting the TV show together. So I
Yeah.
don't think we're gonna see like the Flash kind of like having like a mask or whatever that covers his face.
No, 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 no.
It does
No, they
cover his
don't.
face, not like
No,
his mouth,
no,
but
no, no, no. They don't do.
not gonna
No,
like, no, they're not gonna go down that route.
no.
But there is a way of carrying on filming for sure, and I think the shows are gonna be fine.
Yeah, well, except for, I mean, it seems LA and Canada have two different restrictions. So LA is now getting in the way of Canada starting. So, I mean, they were supposed to have started already, but like because of the unions in LA, they're now putting a stopgap because LA is such a hot spot that they can't film. So they're like, yeah, well, you should film up there. It's like, you know what? Forget you, bro. This is where production has always been. It doesn't hurt your production. You know what I mean? But anyway, way off topic. All right, gotta go. You know what, Steve? It's been a pleasure, man. Thanks a lot. This has been a really long podcast. Maybe I have to edit that part. But but thanks a lot for joining me so we could talk about the end of the world as we know it and everything. And at least for those who watch superhero shows and everything. And I still hope that we can get together to talk about the DC Golden Age because I really did enjoy the Marvel age, and so
Yeah, it was
I'm
cool.
a DC fan, so we have to do it
Yeah, of
and
course.
everything. But once again, I'm Chiefs, the Iron Jacket. It's my man Steve and everything, and the lights have remained on. Aha,
The light, like I said, you know what I mean?
hey, Steve. That was my going out sound. All
I know.
right. Peace.